Hi everybody, welcome to Haiku Talk. I'm your host, Ben Ga, your friendly neighborhood haiku poet. And today we're going to take a look at a piece from the latest issue of Autumn Moon Haiku Journal. It's a piece from Carmen Duvalma from Romania. So if I get your last name pronounced not quite right, please accept my apologies. But it's a wonderful piece called Bread Fragrance. So sit back, grab yourself a tasty beverage, and let's haiku. Okay, thank you for tuning in and welcome back. Good to see everybody. Today's piece is a very nice one, and it comes from Autumn Moon Haiku Journal, which comes out a couple times a year. Please check them out right up above. And this piece, as I said, comes from Carmen Duvalma from Romania. And again, haiku is something, especially this English language haiku is a globally written form. So when you're watching these episodes and hearing about these poems or these poets, they are all contemporary poets living today, and they do come from all over the world. I think this is the first one I featured from Romania, which is very cool. Now, not every journal that you pick up and read does show you where the poets are from, and really, ultimately, it shouldn't matter too much, because the way haiku works and senru works is that, when you enter a moment, you enter that with your own life and your own perspectives. And so the moment gets captured, you enter in those moments, and the moment becomes yours. So in this case, it comes to you courtesy of Romania. And I just wanted to throw that out there just to remind people that this is a global thing. And English is sort of the default global language for haiku. We can thank the British or not thank the British, but that's the way it goes. And in this case, in this journal, Autumn Moon Haiku, we do have the Romanian translation along with it. So if you go check out the website, check out the latest issue, you'll get to see poems from all over the world. And if they were written in their native tongue as well as English, you'll get to see the English version and the other language version. So do check it out. I'm not going to post the Romanian version here, but go to the website, check it out. It's pretty cool. This poem, it's a very nice one. It does follow the fragment and phrase format. And with the first line being the fragment and the next two lines being the phrase. And let's go ahead and take a look at the poem, shall we? The poem goes like this. Bread fragrance all over the house. Grandma's memory. Bread fragrance all over the house. Grandma's memory. Such a nice poem. I mean, you can't, the poem's going to be good with that first line of bread fragrance. I mean, oof, what a great first line. And while I'm on that first line, let's go ahead and break down the poem line by line and see how this works. So that first line is, once again, bread fragrance. Bread fragrance. Wonderful line. Immediately it hits your senses. I mean, and really, there's not many better fragrances in life than freshly baked bread. And I know that it doesn't necessarily say that it's freshly baked, but the fact that you're smelling bread usually would imply that it's freshly baked. Because when bread gets moldy and gross, it generally doesn't smell too much, unless it really gets fermented. But by and large, bread fragrance, that scent, that smell, it's a wonderful thing. I mean, if you're selling your house or your apartment or your condo or wherever you have, oftentimes people will get a candle of freshly baked bread or something so that when people walk into that space, it immediately feels good, makes them feel good, and makes them want to buy the place. And man, it's just a great smell. Walk by any bakery. Wonderful. If you bake bread yourself, it's great. And what's interesting about the poem too is that it doesn't specify that it's freshly baked. I mean, it could be something else. It could be toasted bread. And toast is a great scent as well. More on that in a little bit. But really good first line. All my senses are engaged. I'm automatically going to places that I've been and think memories and things that I've experienced right off the bat. So when we move into the second line, all over the house, yeah, I mean, all over the house. You smell the bread. It's pretty great. And I'm right there. And it's just, again, it's a wonderful, wonderful thing. It just builds off that image that I've been given in the first line and makes me want to hang out in this poem, in this moment forever. So when we get down to the third line of Grandma's memory, suddenly this wonderful smell is given a bit of context. We're grounded now a bit more into the meaning, and we're asked to remember things, not just things. Remember someone who has passed on. That's the implication here, because it's a memory of Grandma, and the fact that it's being a grandma and you're remembering her, that suggestive language to me suggests that Grandma's no longer with us. But immediately, she is present in that scent of bread, and that she's present all over the house. And what a wonderful way to remember somebody, or wonderful way to be triggered to remember somebody. And this is important for a couple things. The first thing is when haiku are written in the present tense. So the moment that you capture, the moment that unfolds, needs to unfold in real time. So the haiku don't talk in the future, and they're not set in the past. But if you want to talk about the past in the present, this is how you do it. So the present moment, you have the scent of bread, or bread fragrance, and it's all over the house. And that is what makes you think of Grandma, this wonderful person from your past, in the present. And that's how you do it, ladies and gentlemen. This is Carmen does a great job with that. The other thing that's important is just that when people do pass on, this is an example of how they're not really gone. You know what I mean? They physically might not be here. You might not be able to have new conversations with them where they're getting feedback back or new memories. But in certain moments, their whole, like, a memory of them is triggered, and that inhabits you. In this case, it's filling this house with this memory of a grandma. And we all have these types of things, that remind us of people that we've lost, and remind us about the light that they brought into the world, and they remind us about, how wonderful it was to have known them, how wonderful it was to have spent time with them, and what either lessons or just what enjoyment we got by being associated with them in the time that we had. And this poem is a celebration in that way, and it's just a wonderful piece. And I was going to talk a little bit about toast, because this one makes me laugh a little bit, because my grandma Ga, was a wonderful cook. She could make just about anything, and it was always a delight to eat anything that she made you. But for whatever reason, one thing that she couldn't quite master was toast in a toaster. Always burned it. I remember my little brother and I would be spending the night over at their house, and my grandma and grandpa would get up really early, as a lot of old people do, especially when you're a kid, the old people. And we'd wake up to the sound of the smoke alarm going off, and we'd look down the hall in the kitchen, and it would be full of smoke, and you're like, my gosh, it's toast. I can make toast. And so this made me smile thinking about my grandma and her inability to master toast. I think part of it is because you put something in and it disappears from view. You can't see it. And whatever reason, she just could never get the dial on the toaster adjusted just right so it wouldn't burn. But, regardless of why or how she couldn't master that bit, it's just a fun memory. And whenever I smell or taste burnt toast, I always think of her, in addition to many other fine dishes that she made. But this one really reminded me of her. And, she got to visit me today with this poem. That's just a nice thing. And I'm curious, I'm sure as you encounter this work, you're triggered for memories and moments of people that you've lost in the past as well. And that might not necessarily be things that with bread fragrance. I mean, geez, could be anywhere where you have a good bread fragrance memory. But tying it to somebody that's gone. These are good moments. This is a very great haiku moment that's been captured here, and it does just what it needs to do. Hits your senses, pulls you into a place, and doesn't tell you the exact memory, but paints with a broad enough brush that you can see the moment, and then you fill that in with your own details, like my grandma's burnt toast. So I hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you all for tuning in. It's such a nice treat to spend some time with you every week or every episode that I record. Hope you're doing well. If you liked this episode, please click the like button, the little thumbs up. It does help for algorithms and so forth, for this to rise up through the algorithms of the inner workings of YouTube and Google. Subscribe to the channel if you'd like, and if you do subscribe, ring the bell to get notified when new episodes do arise. Once again, this is Bread Fragrance from Carmen Duvalma from the latest issue of Autumn Moon Haiku. And with that, I leave you hopefully happy, healthy, and ready to face another day. Thanks. Bye.